So there is a real reason behind why we are so attracted to this nomad life. And it's probably not what you think, even if you're doing it, right? The first thing we think of is freedom. We want to do this for freedom. We want to do this for adventure, to be able to choose the view outside of our door, to be able to go where we can make the most money for our time. Doing the exact same thing in a different place can produce a way different result. And especially if you don't have to pay rent or mortgage, you can make some really good money doing something in one state that doesn't make you any money in the next state. So, freedom, adventure, these are the things we think we're doing this for. But I know that for many of us, the true reason is so much deeper. And that true reason is hope. We live this nomad life. I'm here in the 4x4 adventure rig that I've been building out now. I've got a build out video coming. So I've got a lot more to reveal and everything, but I'll show you around here. I'm on the laptop today, so it's not as easy to move you around, but it's small, but I can go to mountaintops. I can go off road, and it's also short enough to park in parallel parking spaces in a big city. Let's see. It's kind of hard to tell what you're seeing. Got my fireplace there. So, hope. We're doing this because there is a path to escape, a path to prosperity. And by eliminating many of these fixed expenses, these things we've been told, there's this certain box we have to fit into, right? Like we're told, go to high school, get in it, for me, it was go to college, um, go to tech school, get job experience, trade your time for money. Somebody tells you what to do. And then you're supposed to be able to actually own a home and build wealth over time and invest and be able to retire. And for more and more people, that's becoming less and less likely, or it doesn't even seem like any chance towards reality. So you find this path, and not only does it achieve the things that we deeply desire, to be able to go see beautiful places like the mountains and beaches that I've been living on and camping out on over, for 2 out of the last 9 years as I've been building and developing this life. But the true thing is that this is something that allows us, if we're smart, if we live beneath our means, if we're moving towards a goal, if we understand a goal, it allows us the capacity to actually move toward that, to take our most valuable asset, our time, and direct it towards an honorable goal, towards something that we otherwise wouldn't have the time, the energy, the emotions to do. And in all honesty, I haven't been dropping a lot of videos lately because I did start a company while living out of the back of the SUV most of you guys know me from. I've got 4 different business there. And on top of that, I was taking an hour-long walk first thing in the morning before sunrise, a 30 to 45-minute walk at nighttime, strength training after work, managing all these businesses, and I was still trying to create. And it drove me crazy. It drove me crazy because I know that my YouTube channels are my mission and my purpose. This one here, this is my passion. We're trying to get away from some of this self-development talk here and keep that on the other channel. But the reality is there is a certain kinship between us who either live this life or envision this life, are curious about it, desire it, and we think it's freedom, and freedom from fixed expenses that we can't get under control is our we can't save our way out of this. Our dollars are just diminishing like crazy in the bank. I keep hearing these guys that are way smarter than me, and I've spent a lot of time really truly understanding money mechanics and finance and investment, and people that are way smarter than me. I keep hearing this number over and over again, that the hurdle rate, the amount of actual value that our dollars are losing in the bank, is 11% a year, which is insane. So by doing something like this, we actually have hope that there is a path that we can figure it out, because college, high school, education, jobs, that whole path taught me somebody else is going to figure everything out. And then I just got to fit into a little box, follow their directions, and life's going to be good. And for previous generations, it worked that way for a large majority of people. And for those of us who have been able to actually develop enough wealth to be able to build a household, to save, to invest for retirement, because you're not going to save for retirement, but to invest for retirement. um, a large majority of those circumstances, those jobs, that way of life is coming to an end, whether it be in 2 years or 10. Yeah, hey, you're a mechanic. Maybe you got 12 or 13 before the robots take you over. You do HVAC. Maybe you got 12 or 13 years, but this is a dead end path for everybody. But this nomad life, it gives us hope that if we can find the right vision, not necessarily crack the code, but find the vision of how we want our life to look, then we actually are empowering ourselves to start moving in that direction, to not just be enslaved, indentured servants, trying just to pay bills for our whole lives. This gives us the hope that we can actually go where we need to go, to do what we need to do, to live the life that we want and need to live. And I can tell you, this form of hope and this form of freedom is what got me sober, because I was trying to escape what felt like a helpless, hopeless life by just drowning myself in over a liter of vodka a day. And it's been over 2 years. I'm never going back to that life. Um, so I know we're getting a little bit into this self-development stuff I try to keep on my other channel. I want people to think, whether you are living this nomad life now or it's something you're considering, I want you to deeply analyze what's behind it, because that will help you find the path that you're supposed to be on, that you are destined to be on, that your deep inner self wants to be on. And that path, when you love your life, when you love your path, when you love where you're going, when you have unlimited hope for what you can build and where you can go, bro, you just want to keep working harder and doing more. And that's that's why, I've been building all this stuff for where this channel is going. It might be another year or two before it all truly makes sense, but life has been crafted to where this winter I can at least dial my freelance work, my client work, back to part-time, which will still, if there are no unplanned expenses, I should be able to sustain on that and put a majority of my time into this. But I will, fortunately, go with some savings and a lot of credit. So I've been building for a long time to create the capacity to really focus on this full time. These two channels, these are both. This channel is my passion. The other channel is my purpose. I'm doing the best I can to start learning to separate them. And I hope that anyone and everyone that's either involved in this life, whether I feel like there's multiple tiers of this vehicle living nomad life. My first one was out of desperation. Now, it was still because I was living in a place that was absolutely amazing. I was bartending at a high-end bar in Vail, Colorado. Impossible to get housing in mountain towns. It's just non-existent. Doesn't matter if you have money. Unless you got 4 or 5 million to drop on buying a house with cash, you got to live in your car. That's just how it is up there. So that started with a $500 van. Then I moved on to Burbo. If you guys that have watched this channel have seen my custom SUV that was, it wasn't comfortable to live in, but I did it for a year on the beach out in California and 4 months out in the mountains in Colorado. And now we've finally gotten to the vehicle that I've envisioned. And, this has been a challenging moment for me, because I achieved so many of these goals. I bought the land that has water up in the mountains. I've got the truck. I got the camper. But then now I've been camping out behind my client's shop, downwind of a sewage treatment plant in a industrial area in Wichita, Kansas, which is not like the beaches and mountains that I've lived in for the last 12, 13 years doing this stuff. But reality is, I'm paying the dues I have to pay to get where I'm headed to. And The other channel will, hey, I got a congratulations down here. Thank you so much. Hennessy the Black Rose, health is wealth. You are not lying, man. I'm telling you. And so, to jump over to that, one of these super valuable things that I've learned, and honestly, I'm in the middle of a health concern now, that has scared me, and it's not fully diagnosed. But, I've heard this multiple times. Maybe you have too. You know, a normal person might want a million different things. They might have all these different things they want. But a sick person, regardless of how wealthy they are, what they've got, all they want is to be healthy. Especially if you're terminal, especially if you're losing mobility, vision, etc. Our health is so terribly important. And our mental and spiritual health are vital for our physical health. And this nomad life and having hope, having freedom, and having hope keep us so spiritually and physically healthy. So this life is a potential path towards freedom and towards really producing the results we want out of life. Um, I just made a live video for my other channel, my self-development channel, and this is the most amazing moment in the history of humanity to be alive. For those of us who are driven, who are ambitious, and who are unwilling to just allow things to happen. There's never been a better moment ever in history to be able to say, all right, well, this is where I'm at, and it's not going to be like this, or I can't get where I want to go by doing what they taught me I should do. So this nomad life gives us not only a true path towards that, but it gives us that hope that makes you happy to get up each day and not need to use things like drugs and alcohol and strip clubs and gambling and extensive amounts of time playing video games or watching full series on Netflix over the series of a day or two. We don't have to do that stuff when we have hope and we're moving towards a goal. And so for me, I blew up my credit, my savings, and I even had an inheritance that was, a $16,000 value investment at the time. It's been, about 15 years. And I cashed that out, not understanding assets or compounding really. And it did sustain me building that version of my business at that time. And I learned a lot of lessons, and it was what got me on this path. But if I knew then what I knew now and I just left that sitting until it was retirement time, that would have been hundreds of thousands of dollars. And instead, I blew it in under a year. But hey, lessons learned. So, well, I know I've got a couple people here again. I'll just give you a quick spin around if anybody didn't see the place. Got the fireplace there, got the fridge, nice big new memory foam bed. Everything I need, not too much extra. Got a couple spare cans of propane, got a solar generator, a big solar battery, big solar panel. I've got an air conditioner in what would be the bathroom. That air conditioner is going to go into storage though for the winter. We're not going to need that for a little while. And let's see. So my plan is in 2 months to head west for 2 to 3 months to camp out in the desert in Palm Springs, California, and in Tucson, Arizona. Now, who knows what's going to happen with life between now and then? Maybe all this great stuff that I've built won't be in existence or won't be at the same level. So if that's the case, then more adventures to come. And then next summer, I do plan on spending a lot of time out on my land, out in the mountains that I just bought. And I hope you guys come and join me to see some of that for those of you that haven't seen it already. And here's the great thing, guys. So I bought an acre with a well, almost no building restrictions, and some of the lowest taxes in America, surrounded by national parks and ski slopes and hot springs. Nothing within 45 minutes. Well, the hot springs are almost walking distance. Everything else, long ways away. I spent under $10,000 after everything was said and done. And sadly, that was so low the bank wouldn't even finance it. And I could have actually done it at this point but I had to borrow some money from family. Thank goodness I had people that saw the vision and wanted to invest in moving me that direction. So you guys are going to all be there for this. You're going to be there as I use my hands in this 4x4 camper to turn that land with a well into a livable place that I can always go back to after all these adventures, and I can land back there no matter what. All right, so let's see. We got a couple more comments here from Hennessy the Black Rose. Nice, truly happy for you. I've been watching for a while. Great job. Well, hey, thank you for sharing this journey with me. I've been a little MIA, but I really appreciate everybody who chooses to spend time hanging out with me here. It does mean a lot to me. So, yeah, wow, here I come. Well, it looks like it's just me or you and me right now, Hennessy the Black Rose. Let me know if you got any other questions. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep monologuing here for a minute just because, you know, this makes me feel good. My biggest form of anxiety right now is not getting the content out that I want to get out because this is my biggest dream and goal. But I've been successful starting that business and things have gone really well with it. But it's not enough to truly reach escape velocity within the time I think I need. I've paid off $18,000 in debt and invested maybe 6,000 in crypto this year. It went up to about $10,000 value. It's worth maybe 5,000 right now. There's been a bloodbath the last couple of weeks in crypto, but I don't use leverage, so I'm just going to coast through it. It's mostly Bitcoin, Bitcoin, ETH, Solana, good stuff. So anyways, well, hey man, you're doing great. I do appreciate that. I say, man, I'm not even sure who we get if we got man or woman on the other side there, so I'm not going to make any assumptions. But your comments sound like a guy's voice. So either way, I appreciate you know I appreciate every moment that everybody spends with me, all the nice things you say, and honestly, I'm pretty grateful for the haters and shade when it shows up because it means I'm not totally insignificant. Haven't had much haters and shade lately because I've kind of been MIA. But yeah, I'm looking forward to bringing you guys on the winter adventures where, when it's freezing cold out here in good old Wichita, Kansas, and I'm tired of being parked out behind a motorcycle warehouse next to a sewage plant. I'm gonna head off to the desert for a while. My initial California adventure in the SUV, it was supposed to be a winter in Palm Springs and then figure it out, but I didn't really get things worked out there. I was still scared. I was trying to survive, and I didn't yet have the traits that adventure gave me. At the end, bro, I can go anywhere now. I'll go anywhere. I'll get a job. I'll make things work. So, all right, Hennessy the Black Rose. Yep, woman super fine. Okay, cool. So I got a lady down here. Oh, nice to know. Now I remember all of my people that interact with me. I've got a small handful, people that I hope to meet a good handful of you at some point throughout life. Yeah, Coachella, not far at all. It'd be kind of fun to hit that, hit the festival too. Although I don't know if I'm about that life anymore. I don't drink, I don't eat unhealthy, so we'll see. Sorry to be sniffly on you guys here. I got a couple more checking in, guys. Feel free to throw me any questions, any comments. I'm just hanging out tonight. Thank you guys for the handful of you that have been following. Probably like, where's Mike? And now the algorithm doesn't want to push my stuff out too much because, hey, I haven't been putting anything out. But I promise it's part of a bigger picture. We're all going to do something amazing together. You're going to come share this journey. Some of us are going to meet up in real life. And, for those of you that are building something cool, doing something neat, it doesn't have to be exactly the same as what I'm doing. I'd still love to see what you're doing too. So, share some of your videos with me. Give me some links. Let me know what's up. Teach me what I'm not doing right because, I'm I'm an old version of a millennial, and a lot of the social media stuff doesn't make sense. I just love telling stories. I love being creative. I was actually a History Channel credited video producer back in the day. I had all these awards for it, and now I'm walking around with a vlog cam trying to undo all of my mental training from 2 decades in the video production industry. But I truly dream of bringing the DSLR back out. It's sitting right there on the shelf. I look forward to the time when it makes sense to be able to put 40 hours into shooting and editing an 8-minute video and it actually gets viewed. But I really don't want to do that for a video that gets 100 views. The opportunity cost is too high. I could knock out a dozen quick and easy videos and connect with you guys. So, well, I've been rambling here for a little while. Super grateful for those that have poked in and out, those that check in later. And today's super fan on this one is definitely Hennessy the Black Rose. And, I'm grateful for you and for everyone that's been in. So, everyone out there that's, at a great or terrible moment or anywhere in between, man, find your vision, find a way to create hope for yourself. And for me, this nomad life is the path that I've found that allows me to create the freedom I need to at least build a path where I can put my time, my energy, my creativity, my emotions into what matters most. And that's this channel, having the adventures, being creative here, and the other channel, creating content to really to inspire men that were in places like I was to get sober and get fit. So this channel, I mean, I'm not saying ladies can't come over there, but I think there's more value. I don't think I have the right to preach at women about how they need to approach life because the challenges they go through to this point in life is a lot different than I think the challenges a man's going through, especially in 2025 and beyond. Yeah, another comment from Hennessy the Black Rose. Me too. Starting over. Make green juice on your channel. Hey, I'm all about that. I was big into a juicer, although believe it or not, this health issue that's a concern is an outstanding juicer issue from 13 years ago. Most likely a bacterial infection combined with just eating straight chia seeds because I read somewhere that that's healthy, but maybe not when you're juicing all the time. So maybe I'll give people an update on that at some point. But I think some of it was honestly, again, this is more of the other channel stuff. Kept myself in a state of basically starvation for 2 years trying to produce this perfect physique. And I'm still on the path, but you got to give your body what it needs. You can't just starve yourself for 2 years straight. It ain't healthy. So I learned that lesson. And hopefully, all this stuff that could potentially be something scarier is just the result of me keeping my body in the state of starvation. So, yeah, well, hey, tell you what, I'm going to hop off of here and I'm going to go check out Hennessy the Black Rose Health is Wealth. Going to check out that channel. So, thanks again for checking in, guys. Be safe out there. Find your vision, pursue it, find that hope, find that freedom. Don't ever look back. We're being chased by a lion. Let's slay that thing. Love you guys.